This land is your land. This land is my land. From California, well, to the New York Island. From the redwood forest to the Gulf.
Welcome to Markie's World. I'm Markie Shinn, and my guest today is Johnny Young. We also will have Stephanie here. She's going to talk to us about some more things, but we'll get to that later. Welcome, Johnny. I'm glad to have you here with me. And we want to also thank Kyla and Jeff Berry for letting us into their art gallery, the Beverly Hills Art Gallery. Now, we do have another guest that's here. You'll hear him every so often. Just ignore him. That's the little doggy, and it's a really cute little dog. What's the dog name?
Iris.
Iris, yeah, it's a little. I watched Iris grow up. So, Johnny, we have a topic that we're going to talk about, and that's about cannabis. I thought it was an interesting topic because I don't know too much about it. Cannabis, marijuana, TCB, all of those are just foreign language and they're just words to me. What they do for other people, I don't know. I know to me that it's a, sometimes some people, they look at it as being a big hassle or a, what do you call that when, it's an irritant. For people like me, like when I'm going somewhere in the stores or where sometimes you could just be driving next to a person and you smell that hideous odor, and some people might say that aroma, but so it depends on who's who. I'm not saying anything to knock whatever this is. I don't know anything about it, so it's a lot of people out there that are like me, and that's why we have Johnny here. Johnny is a cannabis entrepreneur, and I'll let you be able to judge for yourself or to learn a little bit more about it because we don't know. So, hello Johnny, how are you?
I'm great, Margie.
Okay.
Glad to be here.
I'm glad you are here. Now, what is the difference between the word cannabis and marijuana?
Well, cannabis is the actual name of the plant. It's the, it's the actual, it's more of a scientific name. Marijuana, the word marijuana was more of like the government labeling of it.
Oh.
So the cannabis industry tries to stray away from the marijuana word because it's like, it's something that the government like,
to make it
really
sound
there was a lot of propaganda going on with like when it was illegal, and it's just an old word.
Well, tell me something, since you said the word illegal. What made it was illegal then? What was the changing point? What was the game changer to make it illegal now? Make it legal now? Do you know?
Yeah, it was just people realizing like the war on drugs was a racist war against black people and Mexicans, and and people started waking up, and money. Like a politician will like do great things for money,
Yeah, and as long as they can get their hands on
something,
they'll make it legal, won't they? They will make it legal. And so, tell me, what is the hoopla about? What's your opinion on what the hoopla is about? What do you want me to call it? Cannabis? We're gonna say cannabis?
Yeah.
Okay. What's so great about it? Is there any pros or cons?
It's more pros than cons. It's a good plant. It could be used for a variety of purposes. It's got good medicinal properties because it like for people with illnesses, it especially helps epilepsy. So that's probably the most effective use for it is for epilepsy.
I heard that it helps cancer.
Seizures also. It'll end a seizure on contact.
Oh.
Like a person could be in a seizure, and you could give some cannabis oil to them, they will come out the seizure in seconds.
Wow, that's something.
And it's like no pharmaceutical drug that can do that.
Now, do you remember me asking you why is the odor so strong?
It's terpene. It's a chemical called terpene. Terpenes is in everything.
Terpene.
So terpenes is in trees. It's in pine trees.
Oh.
It's in like fruits. It's in vegetables. But cannabis has a high concentration of terpenes. And when it's smoked and they burn, it's like burning an essential oil, and it releases a odor. Okay. And the odor, the thing about the odor is more mental than it is like people. The odor is actually more like offensive because people relate it to being illegal.
Illegal, because that's
so
how
when you smell it, especially an older person, when they smell it, it's a weird smell. It's not a inviting smell. It's not a good smell, and it also relates your mind to like, oh, this is a crime.
Yes.
So you feel like you're smelling a crime.
Right, but you know what?
But you're really not.
Now, when everybody, I think this is how it goes. When you're young, as a teenager, I was around it. I smelled it. I was around it. I didn't think anything of it. But this is a whole different smell altogether. It's obnoxious almost.
Well, it's way stronger than it was when you were a teenager because it evolves. The kind of like it gets stronger every year as technology advances and growers just learn how to grow it better, and just better lights, better nutrients, better techniques. It just gets better.
So. Okay, now this is what we're going to go into. The growth of it. So you start out with seeds, and where do you get the seeds from?
Well, you can get seeds. You can just buy them from seed banks, online seed banks. Canada is a good place to get seeds. The whole country of Canada is legal.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you can order seeds from Canada. That's where most people get seeds.
Oh, okay. Are they
from Canada, from Amsterdam. It depends on what strain it is, and how potent it is, or how what strain. So they range from like $50 for 10 of them to around. I paid $250 for 10.
Okay. Well, okay. So now you got the seeds. You plant them. It's a long time, and how long does it take for that? Well,
when you plant it grows. You got to do the vegetative stage first. So that's like you just like grow it and make it like the plants. What I do, I grow indoors. So let me tell you the different ways to grow weed.
Okay.
First off.
Right.
So you could grow it outdoor.
Okay.
So that's when you use the sun, the natural sunlight, and you just plant the plants there. That's what California does a lot because they have a good amount of sunlight, little rain, so it's a good environment to grow cannabis outside, and that's probably like the lower quality. And then after outdoor, you have greenhouse. So that's like when you grow it in a greenhouse with the clear roof, light can get through there. So it's a good way to grow too because it's more protected. Like the greenhouse protects the plants from like the wind and the rain and a lot of animals and stuff. It protects it.
That's true.
So that is a little higher quality.
Now you know what I saw something on the news that they were saying that they saw this beautiful coloring out in the sky, and they said actually it turned out that's what comes from the lights that they use to grow marijuana. It's a purple, bluish light that comes up in the sky. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't? From
well, the cannabis the light that you use to grow cannabis is orange. So if it was purple or blue, it wasn't a cannabis grow.
Oh, that's what the news said. Okay.
Yeah, that's like propaganda. You can't grow weed with a purple light.
Oh, okay.
Definitely not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The plants they grow out photosynthesis.
Okay.
So the light has to be similar to the sun.
Okay.
They have to think it's the sun, like, you know, because they're a plant just like the grass. You can't grow grass with a purple light, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's not true.
Okay, so the reason why I got you taking me from the seed, what we're gonna do is we're going from the birth of it all the way on to what we do with it, how it's done, how we manufacture it into beneficial ways for other people. And then I guess that's when Stephanie can come in and give us a hand with that. So now we got the seed.
Yeah.
It's growing.
Yeah.
And then yours
I was finishing about vegetative stage. That's like a good stage to get it bushy and make it, you know, get it a good size. So, you know, like this little, this little right here is like a good size. And after that, you can put it into flower. Flower is when it starts blooming. So cannabis is, it's a plant that, it's an annual. So annuals, you have, in the plant world, you have annuals and perennials, you know. So cannabis is an annual, so it grows one time a year. And then you have to plant it again. Like perennials grow once and then they come back next year and they keep coming back. Okay,
because you know what, I would have thought that an annual meant it's gonna come back annually.
No, annual means it lives for 1 year.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like cannabis, like if you grow it outside, you have to plant it in March. And it's gonna grow all spring, all summer, and then it's gonna start flowering when the time goes back for the fall.
Oh, okay.
Because when the days get shorter, it's gonna start growing buds. It's gonna start flowering. And then in maybe November, October, around that time, it'll be done.
And then that's what you can take.
So that's like a year time.
Take and you use for whatever.
But when you grow indoors, that's the next way to grow. You can control that. You can do it way faster because you don't have to wait for the sun to change. You can change the lights on a timer yourself.
Okay.
You know, so it's much faster to grow it indoors. That's what I do.
Oh,
you know, so I could veg it for maybe 2 months, put it in the flower, and it's done in 65 days.
When you say put it in the flower,
that means change the light cycle. So when I'm having in vegetative mode, the lights are on for 18 hours and they're off for 6 hours. So that way the plants think it's spring, it's summer. Oh. Because if you notice, days during the summer are long. Okay. Like at 9 o'clock, it's still sun out during the summer. Right. So the plant, when you have the lights on 18 hours on, 6 hours off, the plants think it's summer and spring in that area. So then when I say put it into flower, that means I take it to another room and I turn the lights on for 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So now they think it's fall. Oh. They think the time went back and the days got shorter. That's what so they start flowering and they grow buds.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes a whole lot of sense. Now, there's a particular, so when you get it, you cut it up or you? Well,
yeah, then after it's done, you just chop them down, you dry it, you dry it for around 10 days to 10 to 14 days, and you trim it. Just trim all the excess little leaves and, stuff like that. You trim that off, make it look neat, and it's ready for whatever. It's ready to smoke or whatever. But you can also take, what I do is, like Stephanie, she uses a lot of the trim. Like after you trim, and that's good for the extraction process. You can extract the buds too. Oh, but that's what you can use the excess trim for after you trim it. It's good for extractions and oils and wax.
Okay, and is it a certain amount of time that you have to use it to do whatever you're going to do with it?
The trim? You can preserve it in the freezer.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, preserving it. And tell me a little more about who are some of these people, the uses of some of the people that are using this? Well, I mean, who are they? Are they just people?
Well, you have, it's a lot of recreational cannabis. That's a big thing going on, like in California and Washington and Colorado. It's stores. It's like there's stores everywhere, dispensaries. It's like they're like liquor stores here.
Oh,
So
wow.
like they're everywhere,
Oh, I know
almost
that.
on every block. You know what I'm saying?
Here?
No, in like
Oh.
Washington and California.
Oh, okay.
But it's coming here. Chicago is just on a fresh wave. You know, they just legalized it, so it's coming here.
Wow.
But you just go in there, you show your ID, and people go there and they just buy different products that they want, and you know.
So this is my question too. If they're selling it on the streets and then other people are selling it at home, I mean, are growing it and selling it, who's selling what to who?
Reword, what, say that again? I lost my
Okay. Say like you had a store
Uh-huh.
and you selling it. I'm potting it or growing it,
Mhm.
and I have intentions on selling it, but maybe I'm gonna sell it to, do I sell it to you or do I just sell it to people on the streets? That's what I'm, because
Well, no,
people on
the thing about it is like,
it seems like so many people are out here smoking marijuana, but where are they getting theirs from?
well, yeah, you have, see, when you weed it, marijuana that comes, or cannabis that comes from the street is called, it's just like, it's called the black market cannabis. It's a lot of that.
Oh, okay.
And it's a lot of, like, because the market hasn't really, like, flooded here in Chicago. Chicago's demand is way higher than the supply.
Okay.
There's not that many growers here.
So is it more
Growing
expensive?
weed is definitely expensive in the dispensary. It's dispensaries open now,
Oh, okay.
and it's more expensive than the street. But it's a better experience when you go to a dispensary.
It's more what, would you say it's more hygienic or,
Yeah, I'll say it's just a better experience because it's packaged, it's labeled,
Oh, okay.
you know what it is. It's got like THC content. It's got the harvest date on when it was harvested. It's just like a better experience.
Okay, you got
Sometimes they
good
let you look
history of
at
it.
it through a little microscope,
oh,
and
okay, wow.
it's just more of more of like a retail experience than just buying a bag of weed from the street. So it's like it's both happen.
Uh-huh. So if like, but it would be more expensive than the bags that you buy off the street, would that be more dangerous as well?
Well, none of it is dangerous.
Oh, okay, it's
Just
not
weed.
like some of these, like heroin.
It's not cracking.
Okay.
I don't think nobody can OD or like none of it is dangerous, but
Okay.
it's better at the dispensary. It's a higher quality than on
Okay.
the street. Yeah.
Okay, so a person who does it all the time is not in any danger of jeopardizing their health? Okay,
None.
that goes
None
into the
at all.
cons, right?
No.
Okay. So what would be a con? Is there any
The
con?
cons would be maybe the smell.
That
And,
is
people like you.
right, that is a con.
Like that's the word. That's my biggest con I've seen. Is just like it's just the smell. So some people like when I used to work at a dispensary in Seattle,
Uh-huh.
and I was talking to a lot of people, and it was a lot of people like similar to you that just don't like the smell, but they still wanted to consume cannabis for the THC properties
Oh, okay.
and the CBD properties, and just to for pain or whatever they needed it for. So that's when extraction comes in, and edibles and smokeless options.
Okay.
They have vape pens and waxes, and it's way calmer on the smell, and you don't have to it's not like you're smoking it and burning it and making a
Okay.
loud smell like that.
So you said THC. Did you say THC?
Mm-hmm.
And you said what else?
CBD.
See, okay, now explain those to me so I can understand what THC and CBD, and so you can too.
Yeah, so THC is what gets you high. So
Oh, that's the high
That's
part?
the high.
Oh, okay.
that's the good molecule.
Okay,
to
what's
me.
it?
So-
Do you know what THC stands for?
It's a pretty long scientific word.
Okay, so
when
it's
you
over
edit
my,
this,
it's over my
I'll
head.
give it to you. You can edit this video. You can like put it on the bottom of the screen.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's what we'll do.
But it's
okay.
a long scientific type word.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that.
And but THC is it has dopamine and it gets you high. you know.
Okay.
CBD does not get you high at all. There's
Okay.
no like dopamines in the CBD molecules. It's just what they do, they relax your body. So if you like a person who takes some CBD, like you can buy CBD at a gas station or any store, health food stores have it. And when you try it, it's kind of like a soothing type of tea. It's good to drink.
Like
my favorite way to deal with CBD is to
Chamomile.
drink it, like sip it in some tea or some coffee. Because when it grows in flower too, but smoking it's just not, it's just a weak type of smoke. So it's better to drink it or consume it like an edible.
Now, I did hear that they said that they had more accidents with people that were smoking marijuana and driving. It's another thing that I wanted to say about the let me see. So what you got to say about that?
What, the CBD?
I don't know.
Oh, the driving?
Driving and smoking marijuana.
You shouldn't drive and smoke. You shouldn't do it. That's what I gotta say about that. Don't do it.
But that's what's happening. That's one of the problems.
Accidents. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's.
But it seemed like what I realized though from being in Seattle.
But they're going.
If they were more accidents, they were low speed. Cause how people drive slow.
I know Seattle. They smoke a lot of marijuana, don't they?
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah.
I know that's well, I know people there. So okay, and then there was something else. Okay, so we went to the THC, the CBD, hemp. Unless you get something else, is it?
Yeah, hemp is just hemp is where CBD comes from mostly. Like hemp is it's a cannabis plant also, but it doesn't have. It's like a cannabis plant that's not meant for. It's like an industrial. It's more of an industrial type plant. It's used for like rope. It's used for fabric. It's used for.
Oh, is that what they say? Clothes and stuff.
You ever seen those old potato sacks?
Yeah.
That's hemp.
Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then the rope that looks like that too.
The government used to grow it. They just didn't never tell you about it because it was propaganda going on. But all those potato sacks was hemp.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah. Oh, that is so. See, you learn something new every day. That is so.
That was one of the first crops in America was hemp. George Washington grew it. It's nothing more American than hemp.
Oh, all right. Okay. So, and you know that some of the people, this is what I don't understand. The people that have these other people coming to work for them, they come to work smelling like marijuana. Or cannabis. The scent is just, they come through the door, they light up a person's door. To me, I think that's kind of disrespectful. Like, what the heck? Like, what is going on here? They just flow in. Girl, give me my time slide.
It's just like, see what it is? It's just like things change. It's like transitions they're difficult sometimes, but they happen. Like cannabis is a thing, kind of like I like to compare it to a lot of things, like a lot of racism, remember how people would feel about homosexuality?
Yeah.
When it wasn't accepted, it was just like you gay. No, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't accepted. Like black people, we wasn't accepted at a point in time. Weed. It's still in that transition period.
I'm thinking
to being accepted by society.
Yeah, but with it being legal now, maybe it could be kind of curved, like, where people could do things, say, like, it is kind of disrespectful for me to go to work smelling like this and being high and can't talk to the customers, right? Because they like talking to, one lady said, I can't talk to you right now. I said, all I want to know is where's the something. I can't talk to you. I gotta go. I can't talk. I was like, what the heck is she talking about?
Was she high? What was going on?
She was high and smelling like marijuana. I was like, this is what the world has come to.
What has come to?
I said, and we're supposed to accept all this. You driving, you know. So I said, well, maybe with it being legal, it could balance out. You know, where he said,
oh, it's gonna get worse. That smell, that's not going nowhere. Like, Mark, I hate to tell you, but that smell's not going nowhere. You're gonna smell it more and more, especially when the dispensary's open here.
I'm thinking that they could say, well, I can go home and smoke this after I get off of work, but not when I go to work, you know, and all this old type of stuff. You know. Some of us don't like it. I don't like the smell of it. I couldn't say if I like it.
I get it. It's some, you know, it's like some people just don't. It's some people don't like. You know, it's not for everybody. It's an offensive smell. I really get it. You know.
Well, I'm the person that would say that I'm neutral on something. I can't say if I don't like something or not. I just know that I don't like the behavior that I've seen with it and some of the side effects that come up out of that. Paranoia, is that true?
Yeah, for some people, it is.
Yeah,
you see, it has different effects on different people. Like, for some people, it will make you paranoid. Like a sativa. A sativa, like, it's two types of cannabis. It's indica and the sativa. So, like, the indica is more of an effect of relaxation, maybe, you know, just calmness. Sativa is more like a effect of, more of a racy effect. It makes you, it's like coffee a little bit. And then, you know, so like, sometimes like coffee can give you, you know how coffee, if you drink too much coffee, it'll give you
tremors,
a little tremors or a little anxiety or something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that with cannabis too. It'll do that with the sativas with.
So would you know what you're getting? You'll know what you're
Well, see, I grow it, so I know it. When I buy the seeds, they tell you what it is, and they tell you like the parents. Like when you buy the seed, they tell you the mother and father of that seed.
And then so you have to know who the parents were.
Yeah, they tell you on the package. It
so
says on
you
the
say
package.
like, oh, I heard of these two.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you can keep breeding them together. That's why it's like, that's why cannabis gets better and better. Because any strain, you can get a male plant and a female plant, you can breed them together.
Oh, okay, all right. So is there anything illegal about cannabis right now that you can't do?
In certain states, yeah.
What about Illinois?
Well, it's different. Illinois is legal recreationally. So that means it's gonna be stores over here. You can grow 5 plants in your house here, legally. If you're just being an Illinois citizen, you can grow 5 cannabis plants right in your house. That's the legal limit. And you can have, I think, 2 ounces of like flower on the legal limit.
Can you grow it outdoors around your house?
No, just indoors.
Oh, okay. All right. That's funny.
Yeah, so like some of the laws are considered to people, you know, who don't want to see it or smell it, you know.
Oh wow. Okay. So what if somebody like say like I have seen something where people have stumbled across a person's house and they said these people are growing marijuana. So can they call the police on you?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It depends, but it's like if you got 5 plants, it's not making, it's just legal.
It's an indoor.
But maybe you got like a big grow. But what's going on with it is like, just because it's in that transition to being legal, the police are not really pursuing weed right now. It's too much. It's a lot going on in the world. So like trying to go bust somebody for weed right now, but none of the district attorneys and the state's attorneys, they're not like prosecuting and pushing to prosecute weed cases. It'll have to be maybe like 100+ pounds or like a big distribution.
I think they let some people out because they sentenced them to jail for marijuana.
Yeah, most people who've been in jail for cannabis, they getting released and getting reductions. Because when Obama kind of changed some of the drug acts, because it was an attack on people of color from the government, and it's been proven. It was the crack epidemic. The CIA admitted to it. The cannabis, it was an attack. Okay. It was an attack on cannabis. It got in people's minds, and it was like a war on people of color, really.
Right.
Because it was like we're only 13% of the population, but 40% of the people incarcerated. So
that's very true.
I think more than 40. But it's like, it was like a real kind of, it was just America doing what they do.
Yeah. So it was something else I wanted to ask you too. It was right on the tip of my brain. Let me see. Okay. In case the dog is doing pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, she's been on calm down.
Okay.
You can, I think you're about to ask me about the extractions.
The extractions?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
tell me about that.
So extraction, that's what Stephanie does. I'm gonna let her tell y'all more about that. But extraction is when you use like oil is a good way to extract. You take the THC molecules from the plant, and you can turn it into liquid forms like oils,
Oh, okay.
or wax.
And that's what Stephanie does, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what she does.
Well, let's exchange seats and let me get Stephanie over here. Hey, hi. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Looking cute today. I'm trying. Nice. I like your hair.
Thank you.
That is so cute. Are you from Chicago?
No, I'm originally from Seattle, Washington.
Oh, yeah. I got relatives in Washington too, Seattle, Tacoma.
Yeah, that's where I was born.
And what's that other one?
Puyallup?
But that's where Antoine used to live.
So,
yeah. So, and I guess my cousin stays in. Do you know my cousin Kim? Oh, okay. All right. So now what do you do, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Wait, what's your last name?
Simmons.
Stephanie Simmons. Okay. So what do? You do something that
Did John mention?
Okay, so tell me a little something about that.
Yeah, so I do extraction. So he grows the plants from like seed to flower to like where people smoke it.
Okay.
And so then what I do is a part of the process he mentioned was trimming all of that little like the leaves and the extra little parts that are on the weed. We take that and then I infuse actual like oils with it. So I put it into the oven. I do decarboxylation is what it's called, and that's where you take what you mentioned earlier, all the THC molecules off the plant, and it like kind of gets them ready, and then it activates them is another way of saying it. And then what I do is I take that decarboxylated weed and then I infuse it with like olive oils or with butter. Some people do it with like alcohol, for example, too, so like tinctures. And so what happens is once after some time, some heat, very like low heat, you strain it and then you're left with the extraction and the infusion. So I do highly favored infusions as my brand, and so I do infuse olive oil. So I decarboxylate the weed and then I blend it with olive oil for a few hours.
So and then you said with olive oil, do you have like a special type of oven that you use, or it's just
regular
a regular
oven?
Oven? And okay, and then so are you all planning on getting married? I
don't know.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. With,
Yeah.
I mean, one does one thing and another person picks up the other end. That's a really great little combination going on there.
Yeah,
oh, okay. So then, now when you do all this, then you're when you're doing that, then what do you have to do? Infuse and you keep it. You let it stay for like a couple hours or a couple of days?
Yeah, so like some people do it a couple different ways. So there's, I do mine like it's all handcrafted. So I use a stove, a pot. I don't want to give away everything, but I do it on the stove. Some people use like crock pots, and they'll just like put it in a jar in a crock pot and let it sit for a few hours, and then it'll become infused and strain it. And then there's like a huge brand now of like these automatic machines where you just put your shake in there, you put as much oil as you want, turn the button on, and it's done, and they do it for you. So there's a couple of different ways that you can extract. Yeah.
So then you sell them to the stores or to businesses, or how does that?
Yeah.
Is that a moving type of business?
Yeah. So I sell it to just like local people like around me, really. So I've got some clients that are like older, for example, someone that I met through my family. He had issues with like pain and with appetite, and so he uses the oils and they add it to his food. Sometimes they just put it underneath his tongue, and that gives him what he needs.
That's for the when they have medical problems. I'm gonna have to talk to Johnny a little more about that, because I wanted to get more into the medical problems. So they had. Is that expensive?
So I sell my 1 ounce bottle for $31, and then so about $31, which isn't that expensive
for what it is.
For what it is, no, it's actually really cheap. Dispensaries, there's like 2 different types. So some dispensaries will do tinctures and things like that. So it might be like 1,000 milligrams, and they might have you spending anywhere from like $50 to maybe even $100 or more.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And it seems to help relieve a lot of people's medical problems.
Yeah, so a lot of times people use it for it depends. So I'm specifically talking about THC right now, but you can do the same thing with CBD. So there's CBD olive oils that are out there in the market, and you can get those online in the dispensaries as well. But so what was I saying? So with THC, like John mentioned, there's a lot of the psychoactive effects. So that's where you're gonna kind of feel kind of high. And some people that's really good for mood disorders. So for anxiety, for depression, people who have trouble with sleeping. It's people talk about get the munchies, when you smoke weed or when you consume
Now,
weed.
do they actually get the munchies?
Oh, it definitely boosts your appetite.
Do. Well, I mean, you all don't look like you gained a whole lot of weight, did you?
You learn to manage it over time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You get better. Your choices get better.
Okay.
But so people use it for a bunch of different medical reasons, and then some people just use it as maybe a glass of wine, somebody might enjoy. Just like to enjoy it in the afternoon, just to calm
Just
down.
a little calming effect that you can put on yourself. Okay, so then, do you have other people working for you, or you just?
This is a one-woman show. It is just, that's a lie. It is just me that is making the oils and things like that. But I have people that I partner with. So I partner with John. I partner with another young Black woman named Kelsey. She has the Pearls Kitchen, and she works with a bunch of different other Black creators who do all types of different infusions. So there's somebody who makes CBD honey. There's people, she makes different baked goods too. So I collaborate with a lot of people, but for my business in terms of the oils, it's just me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds interesting. Is it anything that anybody want to ask? Any questions? You have any questions you want to ask? That's the audience out there.
Wow, studio.
Do you have any questions you want to ask us? That's the other part of the.
I want to tell you more about the land race when you get finished.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, all right. Now, when you're doing this, does this have an odor, or do you that has an odor too?
It can. So when I do the decarboxylation, what I mentioned, the first part of the process, when I put it in the oven, is loud. What you're describing when you're I don't like the smell.
Right.
On the street, what people call it is loud.
It's loud.
Because when you hear something, it's loud, but when you smell it, it's almost the same type of thing. It's
Okay.
loud.
Okay.
So so when I do the decarboxylation, when I put the stuff in the oven and try to get all that THC out, it gets it'll have my whole apartment. It'll have it's loud. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's very, very fragrant. But then once I infuse it, it doesn't do that. And I think that's why some people prefer to buy the machines, because you don't have to do that process. You just put everything in there very discreet.
Now, can you just have it at different fragrances, like lavender and?
Can I manage it like that?
Yeah. Or
not
do
really.
some people, they don't do that?
I don't think that you can, not that I'm aware that you can really change the smell. So what John mentioned earlier, like the terpenes, so these terpenes are found in like everything. Yeah, it's in there. And some strains might, like, if I use maybe a really like fruity strain that has like limonene in it, which is like the terpene, it might burn a little bit differently and not have as much of a smell, but
it might take effect differently.
But like sometimes like the more smell and like funk that you have, and maybe even the better quality of weed. There's like other things, so I don't mind it, but
I would think that the more powerful the smell is, the more powerful the dose is.
Yeah, that usually means like all the little, like, so when you're looking at some flower, like some weed that you might smoke, and you see all like the crystals and it kind of feels sticky and stuff like that, that's the trichomes that carry like THC on it. And so yeah, like all of that has the flavor, the smell, it gives it the whole punch.
All right, okay. Well, we're learning something new every day. My little audience is just out there just like and I have a big audience, you just can't see it. So anyway, okay, and so what brought you here to Chicago? This is part of your business.
Yeah, so cannabis, cannabis was like really what brought me here, like working with John, seeing the work that he's doing, just because like in Seattle, like the markets and like in the demographics are very different, you know, in legal states. And so Seattle has like a very white demographic, for example. There's a lot of white growers. California's a little bit different. They have some like social equity stuff. But Chicago being like a very black city, and then also this year I wanted to be involved in more of like the black cannabis market and industry. So that was kind of the push to come here.
What made you decide to do something like this? I mean, how did this occur?
Well, it's been like a process. I think like I started really in 2017, and it was really through, I met John in 2016, and he kind of put me on to just like, not just like smoking weed, but put me on to like, this is how you grow weed. This is the science. So I graduated with a degree in science. So like learning more about weed made me more invested in it. And then I just started making like small edibles. So I'd make like Rice Krispie treats, a lot of things that like are more common, like edibles that people buy off the streets.
So name some of the other edibles that you make.
So I started off making like Rice Krispie treats, brownies, cookies, and things like that. Gummies is like a really big thing. If you go to dispensaries, a lot of people like to buy the gummies and candy.
So what do they taste like? Can you taste it and say like this is?
You can. Some of them, some really high quality. I remember there was like a vegan, like non-GMO, gluten-free pineapple gummies that I used to get in Seattle, and you couldn't taste anything. It tasted like almost like fruit snacks. But then there's some gummies and some candies that like you get this kind of like bad aftertaste, like almost like a metallic taste, and just like some
is it kind of bitter or something, or what?
Yeah, bitter, and just like it doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste good. Like they taste good at first. You might like, you can taste a little cherry here, a little watermelon.
You know, have you seen those television shows where somebody bakes some brownies with marijuana in them, and then somebody comes along and eat them all, and the next thing you know, they're high. So that's not true.
So that is true. No, that definitely happens. But what I do is I do like infuse olive oils, and so like as somebody who's entering the cannabis industry, it's super important from kind of like what you were talking about, the difference between black market and like dispensaries, for example, or the legal market. And a huge part of that is dosage. So like what happens is like, you can go to a party and there's a plate of brownies and you just think they're regular brownies, and then you eat them, and then all of a sudden you can't get up, or you're like, call the hospital, like I can't do this anymore. And like that's a lot of people's experiences. Like as somebody who makes edibles, like a lot of people, their first edible experience is often like a really horrific experience. It's like, because people don't know, where they got it from, how many milligrams is in it and whatnot. But what I do is I make sure, so I have a machine, it kind of looks like a diabetes machine, like the blood glucose thing, and it tests the THC content in the like extractions that I make. So
what would they get that will take them to the hospital? Would the THC level be too high?
Way
for
too
them?
high. And for every person, it's gonna be different. So for me, I can easily eat 100 milligram edible and go through my day. That's nothing. But in dispensaries, like in Seattle, for example, the cap is for individual servings, it's 10 milligrams, and then they won't sell you a package that's usually more than 100 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams, depending on what it is.
Oh, wow.
So most people can, I would say the average person, I mean, it depends on other things, but the average person can have a 10 milligram gummy, be really high, and be fine. For example, somebody who hasn't smoked before, like I wouldn't give you 10 milligrams, for example. I would give you maybe 5 milligrams and just see how you do.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, if you want one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now when you're doing it, you got different, you have your own little packaging with your little names on it and stuff? Okay. And then, are you selling them to the stores or just?
Not yet, not yet, yeah. So I'm selling them myself, and then eventually I would like to get into that
Can you
market.
sell them online?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So that is gonna be a pretty big business, huh?
That's what I'm praying for. Like, it's working. I had my first batch of oils. I sold out in 24 hours, which was like amazing.
Wow.
And then now I've started to upscale, and I'm selling pretty consistently. So at least, I mean, it's only been 2 days, and I've had at least 15 orders. So I'm about a third of the way done with the second batch.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So is there anything else that you want to tell me about your edibles, you know, before I call Johnny back?
Yeah, well, if you ever want to try it, let me know. Like, I'll definitely like coach you through like the microdosing. And that's one thing, I guess, like for your viewers, one thing I would suggest is if they're not familiar with edibles or not familiar with weed, start with the smallest dose. Start with like 2.5 milligrams, go with that for 3 days. See how you feel. If you don't feel like you're getting what you want from it, go up by 1 milligram. Try that for another 3 days. And
So is that a little bit different from just smoking?
yeah, so microdosing is kind of like where you are able to limit and you choose how much you want to consume in order to be able to get the effect that you want. So if you're smoking like a blunt,
This sounds like you have to go to school to learn how to go. This is a lot. These people are out here trying to figure stuff out just to get high.
yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
How many milligrams is that?
Yeah, so like I would suggest for like most people to microdose, start with a very small amount, especially with an edible. And then my biggest piece of advice is if you're buying an edible from somebody and they can't tell you how many milligrams of THC is in it, don't buy it.
Oh.
Because like a lot of what happens is you have people who, and I'm one of those people, I started off that way, making edibles, my friends just want to get high.
Oh, okay.
It is what it is, you know, we all smoke, whatever, but then
Right.
as like you transition into like a larger variety, I had to change my mindset into that microdose. And then also like, it's irresponsible as somebody who extracts to just give people a product
I
without
can see where
labeling
you
it.
want to be able to, you want to know where exactly what this is, because everything that you buy, you want to
Exactly.
have a label that has all the ingredients and the amount, and everybody's become like that with everything that they put into their system.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how you end up getting that perfect experience. So I don't want that to happen, not with my customers. I want you to have a controlled experience. You know what you're going into. I don't want you to come out of this feeling like, what's going on? That's not a good feeling.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what kind of feeling are they going to be feeling?
So with my edibles, it's very controlled. So you know what you're putting in your body. And then for many people that I've heard from, they're like, it was calm, it was soothing, it wasn't over the top. And so I think also because my bottle, for example, has 177 milligrams. And for some people that could be a month's worth if they microdose. For some people that could be, you know, on the weekends I make myself an infused dinner, pizza, whatever. And so they do it like twice a week or maybe on the weekends. And then for some people, like if I were planning to do a dinner, like a catered dinner, I might use the entire bottle, but that could be 5 different courses, for example.
So with them, okay, say like when a person is doing this, is there any type of way that should they limit like the places that, like he said, you shouldn't you shouldn't do that and drive at the same time.
Yeah.
But I mean, is there certain places that you can't go, or I mean, is this one of those things that?
Yeah. So with edibles, they take about an hour for them to kick in. So like, and that's also what a lot of people run into issues. So they'll be like, oh, I ate a brownie, 15 minutes later, I don't feel anything. So then I ate 2 more brownies. And then at that point, yeah.
I see what's going on.
Yeah, at that point, you've consumed maybe 3 times the amount that you actually need. So with edibles, I would highly suggest like, do it at home or do it in a space where you know that you can be safe for at least 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours. And be with another person too. I don't, at least for like your first edible experience. But with microdosing, that might be suitable if you're only taking 5 milligrams, you drop it on your tongue, you go to work. By the time you get to work, chilling, cool, you can do what you need to do. You may not be for it, but like, but
not when you working with me or for me and you looking crazy. I'm like, can you just show me where, I forget what it was I was looking for. I can't talk.
Yeah.
I can't talk right now.
Yeah.
So like, what the, you know what she told me? I tell, you know what she told me? I was like, you gotta stop having these type of people up in your store, you know, because I'm not getting the business. I'm paying for business and I'm not getting the business that I want. That's the only thing that I can say. That's my complaint right there is that, and you're coming into my environment here. You're sending all this stuff into my environment. The scent is coming to me. I shouldn't have to smell this. You know, I mean, this is your hive, not mine. You know, why am I smelling it? So that's how I feel. Now that might sound a little anal to some people, but I mean, it's just the way I feel. And because, you know, I am a few years older than you all, so I don't even think that's a really big excuse for it, because a lot of people my age, they do that. I just never had time for it or thought about doing anything like that. And now that I'm at this age, I doubt very seriously if I would even think about it. Either, you know. Yeah. Time to move on to other things. You all probably might do that too, but probably when you're about 80. So
you're not 80.
No.
Yeah, I was like, wait, hold up.
If I was 80, well, I was like, hey, man, I look good.
Yeah, I know. I was like, there's no way you're 80.
No, I'm in my 20s. I lived a really rough life. In my 20s, lived a rough life. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me about this, because you know, maybe people could get a better understanding about it, and that's what it's really all about. And actually, Johnny has kind of calmed me down a little about it too. You know, when we were talking about that at my house, I felt, you know, you got to think about some things, you know, like what's so, you know, you have to think about a lot of those stuff, you know. But as long as I don't do it, it shouldn't really have any effect on anybody else. So it's not really a big problem. But I thank you for being on, and I want to talk right back to this one here.
Over here, listen, I have my tabs ready. Let's go. I was ready.
I know, I knew that when she was right.
Listen, I always
marijuana stuff all about, because we don't know.
I would say also, like, one other thing, there's an option, like, you can choose to consume or you can choose not to consume. But for those that like are interested and are consumers, like, diversify the way that you consume. Like, sometimes I prefer to smoke flower, and then sometimes I just prefer to microdose. It really just depends. And if you have like questions, do your research, go to Google. But then also, like, don't be afraid to go to a dispensary. Don't be afraid to walk in.
Oh, that makes sense.
Walk in.
Makes a lot of sense.
Tell them I've never, or I haven't consumed in this amount of time, or I've only tried these things, and they're gonna give you.
You would think that we're in the ghetto, right?
But yeah, tell them.
Fire trucks,
the bud
that's
tenders.
fire trucks.
Yeah, but the bud tenders, like, that's their job. They're supposed to be knowledgeable in the strains and the different uses. And like, even though I only talked about oils and we've only talked about like smoking, there's like the tinctures, which are a very highly concentrated thing. You can put underneath your tongue. Some people have, I've heard of toothpicks out there that are like, they add some type of film over the toothpick. It's like a mint flavored toothpick. It's got CBD on it. You pop it in your mouth. It's super discreet. You wouldn't know. There's I'm trying to think of what other type of stuff I've seen.
Now, there is
Yeah.
no way that they can blend that in with something crazy, is it?
What you mean?
Just something crazy.
I've seen some like crazy interactions. I've tried them. Like there's like cannabis drinks, for example, like edible drinks, and it might be like 1,000 milligrams. You take maybe an ounce, it's 100 milligrams or whatever. I've mixed it with
No,
other
no,
things.
what I mean is something that can cause a person to go crazy. You know, like mixing it, put something, sprinkle something on it.
Oh, not if it's from a dispensary. Like it's all been tested, it should be good. And I would say like
But from people selling it on the streets, they can do that?
if somebody chooses to, but it's very not often that people are like messing with weed, or do they like change it around? No, people don't typically do that. I would think that like probably the more like dangerous thing is the edibles, because it's not labeled. So like you could be buying from somebody who's like, oh, this is some good stuff, whatever. And for some people it might not do anything. For some people it might be way too much. So
Okay, well, I mean, so, Johnny said he didn't see any, basically any cons with that except for the smell. Did you see any,
cons with edibles, I would say like your tolerance gets a little bit higher. That's one thing. So it's kind of hard to tell like how many milligrams of THC you might be getting in something that you smoke. But for like, sorry, there's a train of thought. But for like edibles, I guess like, I can't think. Sorry, I'm like, yeah, I'm here or I'm there.
That's just our music, you know, letting us know that it's commercial break time.
What I was gonna say is, yeah, your tolerance. So like, for example, if I'm somebody that's consuming 15 milligrams of THC every single day, just along with everything else, after a while your body gets used to it. So you might have to increase your dosage. Or if I, for example, and that's why I like to switch off. So like, if I'm smoking flower consistently for 2 weeks and then I want to take like a tea break or a tolerance break, I might stop smoking flower and go switch to edibles, or switch to a tincture, or switch to different forms of cannabis, so that my body doesn't get used to just one way. I can try it in different ways, and the different effects that they have tend to be a bit different.
Wow, well, that is something else.
Yeah.
Okay, we've learned a lot off of that. I hope somebody out there has learned something. Okay, well, thank you, Stephanie. I really appreciate you taking this time out to talk to us and try to straighten some things out. Hopefully some of us got something out of it. I think I did. I got a lot out of it.
And ask questions. If you ever, you can always contact me. You can always try. I want people to try. If you don't want to try it, you don't have to. But
right.
yeah, it can be safe. It can be controlled. So
I think I'll be the last person that would try it, but you know, anybody else, you're welcome to it. So let me speak
I
back
got a
to
story to tell you real quick.
Come on.
This is about my mom, because my mom, you remind me of her.
Oh, you told me that the last time.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell the people. So my mom is 76 years old, and she is like, she was raised in the time when weed was bad, it was illegal. She was like raised in the time of the heavy propaganda, Nixon era, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
the war on drugs. She was like full-fledged with the government.
Right,
you know?
yeah, that's
So,
illegal.
like-
It's illegal.
So, like, as I was growing up, she would like hated that smell. Like people, she was like, I think she was a little worse than you. Like she would go out. People be outside smoking across the street. She'd be like, hey, lady out there smoking. She would go off. You know what I'm saying? So, like, she's 76 right now. So, like, me and her, like, she has found weed. I've always liked weed. Not always, but more like since I was a teenager, upper teenager. You know, and she just didn't, you know. So, as weed became legal, and around 2000, it happened in 2012 in Washington. And I moved there in 2014.
Okay.
So as it became legal, it was just more, she started seeing stuff, like her mind started changing, because like what it was is like how the government like kind of like brainwash people to go against it.
Right.
What's going on now is there's a lot of media. It's like people like you, it's like Dr. Oz, it's like daytime TV people. They like putting out content about cannabis.
Right.
You know, and now older people see that because like she watched stuff like the doc. It's some show that she watches called The Doctors.
Yeah, the doctor.
And it comes on during like daytime TV. She
Right.
always call me and tell me something she saw there, and I was like, so they talking about weed a lot on this show. You know, and this is a show a lot of older people watch. So as I started getting into the cannabis industry, she started seeing, cause I made more money selling weed than I ever made doing anything, and I would ever make ever.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that was another thing, and she saw that. Cause I've never really cause we came up poor. You know, and as a kid, we didn't have like money like that.
A lot of us.
Yeah, and you know, as the cannabis industry came, because it's a good, like, you can make money doing it. You know, and I just showed her the business side of it because I worked for a company in Seattle, and we received an investment. It was a friend of mine received an investment for $2.5 million to just start up a company and just keep it going. And it was like here in Illinois last month, it was $47 million made in 1 month off cannabis. So look, what I did, I started.
That we know of.
Yes.
I guess it'd probably be a whole lot more.
Legal.
Yeah.
What they, you know, because they could track the legal sales.
Yeah.
But you know, on the streets is a different story. But anyway, so she started to come around. She started, you know, and then her friends started asking questions. They would kind of, you know,
Right.
and they started to come around to the idea because she knew
so
I was like,
okay,
he's doing good.
Find out how to
Yeah, he's not doing anything illegal.
Right, yeah.
You know, he's not selling drugs. You know, even though it used to be a drug, they told me it was a drug, but it's really just a plant that grows,
Right,
like
yeah.
everything else
Yeah.
that God made. You know what I'm saying? And so then she changed her whole mind frame.
Wow.
At 76 years old, she supports it now. She supports me. She supports my company. She supports what I do. You know, everything. She don't complain about the smell no more. She even lost her anger about the smell.
Well,
so there's hope for you, Markie.
I tell you. Let me
Like
tell
if
you.
I go there and I give her like $1,000 and pay all the bills, she'll let me smoke in the house.
Well, you bring me $1,000 to pay the bill every month. You can
She
smoke
would
in my
let me-
house too.
Exactly.
Anyway, I'm gonna tell you this story.
Yeah.
My mother wanted me to buy her this ointment, and I saw it said hemp something, and so I bought the ointment for her. And then she said, "Oh, it works pretty good," but they said that they'll give me a free bottle. So I said, "Okay, I'll put it in for the free bottle." Then she said, "They said they'll give me another free bottle." I think we did that about 4 or 5 times. She said, "But it does actually work very good for pain." And so I said, "Yeah." So hempful or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but so she said, "I didn't know that was marijuana I was putting on my body." I said, "You did it?" And she said, "Did you know?" I said, "Yeah, I did know." I said, "But they got this stuff out everywhere. You can't."
Well, it was hemp, right?
I think it was hemp.
Yeah, it was hemp.
Yeah.
She bought it.
Isn't that part of marijuana? Is that part of? It's not.
It's not the like it is. When I told you earlier, it's just it's a cousin plant.
It's a cousin.
It's a different
plant.
species though.
Oh yeah.
It's not even the same species as cannabis.
Okay.
Hemp is a little bit. It looks the same though, but it grows taller, and it looks a little bit different.
So.
Very similar though.
Do people get high off of that?
No.
With it, that's the one that.
You can't get high off of hemp. It's just it's not
It's
not
just
enough
medicinal.
THC in it. Yeah, there's nothing there to get you high.
Okay.
But it will like, cause she could feel it because it's like it take your pain away.
Oh, okay.
CBD,
Okay.
it's the CBD in it. You know?
Okay,
So she wasn't like putting any real weed on it. It was just it was a hemp plant that they extracted the CBD from, and they mixed it and made it into oil. Cause that's what my mom uses. She doesn't smoke or anything, but I sent her it was one with THC and CBD, both. And it was a cream cause she has rheumatoid arthritis, and she has a bad like pain in her knee.
So did you
And
have?
it worked for her.
It did. Did you? Are you investing in medicinal creams?
No,
and
I'm
ointments?
straight on the get high part.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't do any matter. I'm not, you know, I'm
Okay.
just being real. That's
Just
a
one
part of
thing
it,
at a time.
but I'm on the
Yeah.
recreational side.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, all right, so, with what you do, you have like one customer or thousands of customers?
Well, I grow it, so it's when I grow, I have pounds, so I give it to, so I don't really sell it
Oh, okay,
myself.
okay.
But you know, it's just it goes out to the people, and so how it works, like as when COVID is over, everything can get back to rolling with legalization. So what I'll be doing is selling to the dispensary.
Okay.
So I would grow it, I would package it up, put it in jars, put it in bags, and label it
Okay.
with my company, Land Race. Label it with that, and send it out to the dispensaries, and they purchase it, and they put it in the stores. They mark it up like 3 times.
Oh, wow.
So like I would sell them maybe a gram for $5 a gram. That's the average price.
They do it.
They would sell that for $15 at the store.
Wow. That's something else.
Yeah.
A lot of people
That's how it works, yeah.
ask me if I had met anybody. Do you know anybody that I can invest with her? No, I don't know, because I really don't. You know, I didn't know what your actual part was in this.
Yeah. And I'm looking for like, it's a lot of like possible investors. It's just, I've had investment offers. It's just more of like trying to figure out a good investor. Because in Illinois, like what I would want to invest in, to me, because there's something called social equity going
Okay.
on in Illinois. So,
Explain to me what social equity is.
so social equity is, they're trying to equal the social ladder. Because like what I told you, the government admitted to the war on drugs.
Right.
So now they're trying to do things to like reparations for people.
Okay.
So like if you're black and you fall under the social equity, everything is half price. So your license, your application fees, everything is half.
I didn't know that. When
Yeah.
did this start?
Last year.
A year ago. Okay.
Yeah, been going on
You need
about
to talk to me
1 year
more,
now. Yeah.
about what's going on out here in the world.
Yeah, you can get on Google too.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, and they got, so that's if you're black and you in like one of the neighborhoods that was like the war on drugs. Like the war on drugs happened like in certain neighborhoods.
Uh-huh.
Like they weren't in Northside Chicago kicking people's doors down over crack.
Right.
They happened in Inglewood. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like people from that area, you have they're giving a chance for you to just make some money and benefit off if they admitting that like this was a bad war that we committed on y'all. We made millions of dollars, we locked y'all up, we oppressed you, but now it's over, and so you can grow some weed and make some money. So now the social equity is very good, and but it's still more white people than it is black people in the cannabis industry. Just because it was a culture that came from California, it was a culture that came from more Caucasian places. It wasn't like a culture that came from
And
from
does
black
it have
communities.
something to do with finances?
Definitely,
And does it have anything to do with race?
yes.
Okay. So with finances, you do have to have a certain amount of money to get into that business, don't you?
Can
Yeah.
yes, yes. You have to have some money to get into it. You gotta have money to get into really any business. But that's why the social equity thing is cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Like it'll be half the cost for a social equity applicant than a non-social equity applicant. So even though like the majority like white owners have more money, they're gonna have to pay more also than a black owner would have to pay.
Wow.
You know, because of the how it's balanced out with the social equity. But it's just not a large interest in the growing part of it in the black community. It's more interest in the retail part, the selling part, than it is in the actual growing. Because I know I've met some growers in this area, but around just the Midwest, and they're mostly white guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the blacks, they can't afford
I've
it.
smelled it. It's a couple black women too that grow.
Well,
What's the thing about it? You can grow, you can start small. Like it's something, it's like you don't have to start off with $1 million business. You can start with one light and one plant. I started growing in my closet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
not even a walk-in closet.
So your mother couldn't see it?
No, this was in Seattle. No, not in her house. She wouldn't have that. This was in Seattle.
Okay.
Like Stephanie, so I lived in an apartment one time. I started in an apartment, and I used to grow in the closet. And I had one light in there, and I had, my first grow was one light and 4 plants. And that was it. And that grow probably, to start all that, it probably cost me less than $200. I just bought, the light was like $150. I bought some clones for like $10 a piece, some little dirt, some nutrients, and I grew 4 plants.
Now tell me something about these clones. What's that all about?
A clone is a cutting of a plant, and you grow roots. You make another plant.
Oh, okay.
So you cut a piece, like if this was a plant,
right?
I could cut this off.
Oh, that's what I do with some of my other plants.
Yeah, that's
with
cloning.
Some of my plants. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that that's called cloning. I guess it is. Huh? And then you just make a root off of that and grow another tree.
Grow another.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, all right. Instead of having the whole bulb, just getting the whole bulb, or it come in seeds, right?
Yeah. So cloning, like growing from cloning, is just a faster way to do it.
Okay.
Like what I do, I grow from seed, but it's when those seeds, like when you grow from seed, the plants will be different. You can have 10 seeds of the same strain, but each, it's like brothers and sisters when you grow from seed, so they're different. Even though they're the same strain, the same genetics, they're slightly different.
Different because
so
everything is not the same. Okay, I see.
But like if you cut a clone, it's gonna be the exact same as the plant you cut it from, because it's that same plant.
Wow.
You know, so when you grow from seed, and then when you start going into production, like you start cutting the clones from them, you grow a big plant, what you call a mother plant. A mother plant is a big plant that you'll grow maybe this big, and that plant is used only for clones. So whenever you want to grow like do a whole growth, fill up a whole room,
okay.
You can cut clones from the mother plant. You can do like 100 of them.
Wow.
And you get roots, and now you got 100 little plants.
That's interesting.
And that's how you keep the rotation and keep the production going.
Well, is it anything else that you want us to know about? Because you know, there's a whole lot of me's out there. Is it anything else that you would like to say to us to kind of change our mind?
Well, no, I'm not really trying to change anybody's mind. But look, this is how I feel. Like if you don't want to get into it, that's like everybody's free to do whatever you want to do. Like, I'm not one of those people, because it's like it's an industry that's burning up right now. So there's no need to like try to change
it's moving
anybody's mind, because it's moving forward. It's moving fast. It's booming. There's millions of dollars being made. So it's gonna move. It's like nobody's thoughts or how they feel is gonna stop it. So there's no reason to persuade anybody. But what I would say, if you are interested in it, is just research. Just Google stuff and just do research and learn about it, because that's what, like my mom, that's what changed her mind, is knowledge. When she really found out that just like how it was portrayed for so many years was more of a scam, more of propaganda, she kind of like, you know, in like TV helped
lightened up,
because she started, like that show, The Doctors, that was her show. She loved it. And I don't watch it, but they gave her a lot of information about, and Dr. Oz. Yeah, Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz, she got a lot of information from him. And you know, it's good. It's a lot of older people who, you know, and they because it's just I say just get
because
information.
Everybody start out younger when they like in grammar school and high school, smoking that stuff. Everybody does, you know. I think, don't they?
I did, but I don't think sometimes people. Some it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, like some people don't drink. alcohol is not for them.
Right.
You know, it's just not. It shouldn't be. People shouldn't try to push it on people. Be like, you know,
Or
like they say.
let's say, try to say that you shouldn't do it.
Remember they used to show the little videos, like the kids trying to make the other kids smoke weed? Never happens at all. People don't just give away free weed like that. It's too expensive. It's $20 a gram.
That must be in a white neighborhood.
That was part of the propaganda. That never happened. Like I never seen somebody like come up to me like, hey man, you need to smoke this. You should smoke this. Take it for free. But no, that's like you know, it's just, I say just education on the subject.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna wrap up today, and I want to thank Johnny Young and Stephanie. What's your last name?
Simmons.
Stephanie, I have a really bad memory when it comes to names. I remembered his Young. I don't know why that stuck with me, but Simmons, yeah. I don't know anybody named Simmons, though. Okay. Well, I really appreciate both of you all being on our show, and I hope that my audience got a lot out of this, because I actually did. I've been getting a lot out of it, a lot more. I'm calming down a little some from it. I'm like, marijuana, oh my God. It's just, you know, especially if you like used to working all the time, and you're working or you're going to school, you always constantly doing something, you don't have time to think about this, and sometimes some other people have to bring that information to you, like I'm bringing it to you. So, all right, let's say goodbye.
Bye.
Come over here, Stephanie, and say goodbye to my people.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh.
And let's also thank Kyla Berry for doing the filming today.
Shout out,
Thanks, Kyla. Okay, that's it.
This land is your land.